How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make rolling trance like DJ Heartstring. DJ Heartstring are a duo out of Berlin, Germany, and they've pretty much single-handedly reignited the Euro trance trend. Today I'm going to show you how to make their track 1-2 Step. This is what you have made by the end of the video. A lot of Euro trance is based on a bass pattern that hits on every offbeat, but this rolling bass hits on every single beat but has a huge sidechain. Let's show you how it's made. Great, so let's have a look at the MIDI. As you can see, the notes are being played very quickly. So the kick would fall on a pattern of every beat, like this. But then what we're doing is splitting that up into quarter notes and then just repeating that. We then need a pumping effect. So if you go and add a sidechain, so I normally use the kickstart, but you can also do this with the compression. So if you haven't got this, go to Ableton and compressor, click open, sidechain, and then select your kick. And then I use it best on this mode. You just drag that down until you get a pumping effect. So let's solo that without it. So yeah, you can sort of play around with the different settings until you get it to how you want to hear it. But yeah, I'd recommend using the Kickstart 2 as it's really visual. If you select audio and your kick, then you can actually see the length of the kick. It's in the yellow, so you can adjust the sort of side chain to match exactly like the kick. We've then added a small amount of reverb, but to be honest, you can't really hear it. So the bass sound itself is made using Serum and is actually a preset for my Euro Trance Volume 1 pack. You can get that from the link in the description. The pack has over 65 of the sickest presets for making insane Euro trance like DJ Heartstring, Test Press, and DJ Daddy Trance. So definitely check that out. Great, so if you have a look at oscillator A, we have a saw rounded. So if you go to analog and select saw rounded, you can then manipulate the wavetable position so it's got more of a curve around the edges. This way it's going to give you more of a hard pluck sound. In oscillator B, again analog, and we've got the BS2 sub E square. These are then being controlled by envelope 1. So as you can see, we've got a really short decay, no sustain, and a really minimal release. And without that, so if it was like this, it's just going to sound not like a rolling bass. So the key to a really plucky rolling bass is a really short decay. You then drag that over onto the filter, and as you can see, that's creating that to flutter up and down every time one of these notes is hit. Great, so if you have a look at the effects, what we have is this distortion. So this is making it a bit thicker and louder. It's quite subtle, but it's definitely doing something. And after that, we have this compression unit, which is making it slightly louder and making sure that it's more level. The second layer we've got is a sub layer. So this is just to add some sub. You could do it in the original one, but I find it a bit easier to control when you've got a separate layer. So if we listen to that, it's just pure sub. All I've done is duplicate this patch to the first patch, and then I've turned off these oscillators and I've selected this sub and pitched it down an octave. It's a bit clicky, but this actually helps to add a bit more oomph to it. So a lot of people maybe would bring up the attack, but then you're just going to drown out the sub. And it's so clicky, you almost can't hear it. And that has the exact same effects as the other layer. Without it, sort of missing that depth. Next, let's have a look at the drums. Great, so the first drum layer we have is this kick. It's quite heavy. On the group as well of the bass and the kick, so they're in the same group. So yeah, I've actually got a small effects chain on the kick and bass. So yeah, they're in the same group. I'm just going to turn it all off and put it on one by one. So firstly, we've got this Saturn 2 without it, with it. And this is the Magic Mastering preset. So this is from the original V1, so Saturn 1. And yeah, it's the Magic Mastering. Yeah, I'd really recommend using this on your kick and bass. It really helps to glue them together. I've then got this plugin called the Glue. So again, I use the preset Make It Louder. And this again helps to sort of glue your kick and bass together. This is actually the exact same plugin as the Ableton glue compressor, but it's just got a different interface and it's also got more presets. But yeah, you could just as easily use this. It's got the same algorithm, but I just prefer this because it's bigger and yeah, it's got these sick presets. What we then have is this overdrive. So not doing a whole lot. I mean, I guess I could increase that, but it's just, yeah, adding a bit of distortion. I've then lastly got this EQ, it's just boosting some of the subs at 72.6 Hertz. So without anything, and then with everything, makes it a lot thicker, a lot fatter. Great, let's have a look at the rest of the drums. So firstly, I've got this clap. As you can hear, it's got a nice tail on it, but it's not very oomphy. So I've layered it with another clap that's got a harder transient. It's also got more high end. After that, I've got this hat. Just one layer for the hat, because it's quite a thick hat. And you could layer it with a different one, but I didn't really feel like it needed it. I've then got this perk loop. So this has got rim shots, cowbells. And then to top it all off, to bring the energy to a track, you need a good shaker. These drums and the kick are all from my Trance Volume 1 drums pack. You can get that from the link in the description. The pack has over 400 of the sickest loops, one-shots and effects for making Trance. I've been using it in all my recent productions and they'll be coming out very soon. If you want to hear some of these drum loops and Serum presets, then check out my track Max King, Touch My Body. I'll put the link for it in the description. But yeah, that track is used entirely with my own loops and Serum preset. So yeah, check that out and you'll be able to see a similar track you'll be able to make with these packs. Lastly, we have the lead. So if we have a look at the notes, we are just climbing up the scale. So yeah, we're in the key of G minor and we're just going first, third, fifth, seventh, eighth. So yeah, that's just sort of repeating. Again, that's just up a third and then climbing like we did before. Yeah, this is one of the presets from my pack. It is 1-2 step pluck. So we've got a sine wave being controlled by envelope 1. So if you go to basic shapes, the first one, you'll be able to select a sine wave. Oscillator B, analog, basic shapes. We've got a triangle, which is very similar harmonically to a sine wave, but has a few more sort of high-end harmonics. So yeah, just scroll through, select the triangle. This is there and got a unison of 2, which makes it into 2, basically, of them playing. So you can sort of detune them a little bit. But yeah, that is also being controlled by envelope 1. And lastly, the filter, just making it a little bit more plucky, also being controlled by envelope 1. We've then chucked on a nice bit of reverb, as you can hear. Without it. With it. And a bit of hyper, which isn't doing a whole lot, to be fair. It's mainly the reverb that's creating that effect. Makes it more like dreamy. Got this overdrive, so just making it a little bit more aggressive. An EQ, taking out the low end because it's a bit muddy and not really needed because it's a bell. Sort of saving the low end for the bass and the kick. We've got another reverb here. This helps add another dimension to it. And we've got this sidechain. This is the same that's on the bass. Great. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video and found something useful. I will see you next time. Cheers.